Hello, beautiful souls. It's your What's Your Spark show host, Regina Huber from Transform Your Performance with the same website, transformyourperformance.com. And today I'm again live from Miami Beach, Florida, United States. As an adventurous nomad with a huge passion for travel and for dance, I love to be on the move. So expect to see me in different locations and with different backgrounds as we move along in the journey of this show together. I'm all about movement, movement as in travel, movement as in dance, movement as in moving to a new city, country, or continent. And, I stopped counting my moves when I got to like 36, 37 moves. I think I must be close to 50 geographical moves by now. Not sure if there's an award for that or for frequent mover, but if there is one, I'd certainly get it. My eclectic life and experience on 5 continents has allowed me to become a multicultural and multilingual transformational leadership coach, an author, and an inspirational speaker. And because I have seen such a multitude of sparkling brilliance in women all over the world, I have made it my mission for this show and all its episodes to inspire you to ignite a fire wherever your path leads you, to move up that light dimmer switch and shine your brightest light, your brightest spark, so you can increase your influence and impact. And in this way, also influence and impact your income, which allows you to live a more fulfilled life. A life truly worth living. My show, What's Your Spark, is about how you can show up more powerfully in business and in leadership and sparkle your unique leader brilliance out to the world. Beam like a dazzling star with it. Shine with such a bright spark that people have to put on their sunglasses when they look at you. Our topic for today's episode is you can have what you want because you say so. Isn't that fantastic news? You bet. Let's find out how this works and what the underlying facts are for this truth. But before we dive in, a quick reminder to grab your notepad, or even better, your dedicated journal for this series. So you can take lots of notes, then implement what you write down and integrate what serves you. I find that when I take notes during an event, my own inspiration also gets kindled and it starts to flow at the same time as I'm listening. I get all these amazing ideas, and taking notes also helps me focus more. So that's why I personally love taking notes. Okay, ready? Take a deep breath and let's begin. In his book, The Divine Matrix, Gregg Braden writes, the concept of the divine matrix is a universally connected hologram. I have to read that again. The concept of the divine matrix as a universally connected hologram promises us that we are limited only by our beliefs. As the ancient spiritual traditions suggest, the invisible walls of our deepest beliefs can become our greatest prison. Yet they also remind us that it's our beliefs that can become our greatest source of freedom. So let's dissect this paragraph. And to do this together, follow along with me on the slide I'm going to share with you here so you can see it better. So again, the concept of the divine matrix as a universally connected hologram promises us that we are limited only by our beliefs. As the ancient spiritual tradition suggests, the invisible walls of our deepest beliefs can become our greatest prison. Yet they also remind us that it's our beliefs that can become our greatest source of freedom. This is from The Divine Matrix by Gregg Braden. Let's dissect this, as I said before. The divine matrix, in short, this will be the world we live in. Yes, this invisible spider net that holds it all together. So this divine matrix is a universally connected hologram. We live in a hologram, but what is a hologram even? Well, when we look it up online, these are the definitions we can find. Let me read them to you. Some of them. A photographic image giving the observer a seemingly three-dimensional view of the represented object. Another definition says the pattern of interference itself, and yet another definition is a three-dimensional image of an object made by holography. Or I guess we could say this hologram we live in is a projection of ourselves, our thoughts, our beliefs, our emotions, our words, and potentially even our essence. I'm not sure about the latter, but it's well possible. It's what's really for sure is that it's some kind of a reflection. And what I also understand is that everything around us only exists because we are creating it somehow. We are all holographic expressions of each other. Isn't that fascinating? You're an expression of me and I'm an expression of you. And it's sort of hard to grasp that, but it does make a lot of sense when we take the time to actually really meditate on it and reflect on it. And if we truly believe that we are all connected and one. So I guess we could say the world around us is an expression of consciousness itself. Okay, so let's go back to the entire first sentence of this Gregg Braden paragraph. The concept of the divine matrix as a universally connected hologram promises us that we are limited only by our beliefs. Okay, we understand that, right? The only thing that limits us are our beliefs. We have infinite potential. And if we just believe more in our potential and what we can do with it, then we could achieve what we want more easily. Then, if we believe that we can achieve it, that we are able to do it, that we can be willing to do it, then we would be able to achieve it. Gregg goes on to say, as the ancient spiritual tradition suggests, the invisible walls of our deepest beliefs can become our greatest prison. Well, the ancient spiritual traditions bear a lot of truths and a lot of wisdom, which was buried over time. Most likely this was done through intentional mind control, in my view. And partly it might have happened just because we got distracted and we forgot about it. Humanity hasn't only been evolving always in one direction. There have been darker eras and lighter eras. And we don't really know much about our history anyway, because it's been partially at least distorted. So much in our history books is not really exactly how things happened. Our history books were written by those who really want to control the world. And so it's really worth looking into other sources as well. And this is also how potentially a lot of the gems of past wisdom and knowledge have been dismissed, have been artificially suppressed and lost. So we must gain these gems of wisdom and truth back. Let me read that sentence again to refresh our memories here. As the ancient spiritual tradition suggests, the invisible walls of our deepest beliefs can become our greatest prison, meaning the highest prison walls are the ones we have somehow built ourselves, mostly unconsciously and unwillingly, because why would we do that? Why would we do that willingly, right? Consciously. But here comes the best part. As Gregg says, yet they also remind us that it's our beliefs that can become our greatest source of freedom. This means if we practice greater awareness, if we become the observers of our thoughts and our beliefs, and we practice turning those around that do not really serve us, then that can eventually lead us into the paradise of freedom. Our beliefs can become our greatest source of freedom. Our beliefs are the basis for our thoughts and our words, of course, and our thoughts and words create our reality. Our thoughts eventually turn into things, into our physical reality. So we could say thoughts are much more powerful than things because thoughts create things. Isn't that amazing to be reminded of? We've heard it over and over, but do we really live it every single day? Yes. So in a nutshell, what this all means is that we are building our own invisible prison walls through our beliefs. We can also tear these prison walls down through our beliefs, through forming new beliefs. Yes. By changing our beliefs. And as a result, we can create the reality we really want, which is one of choice, one of freedom, because we say so. So the first step is to become the observers of our thoughts and feelings. And of course, also to as we become aware, to course correct when self-limiting thoughts cross our mind, because our reality is built on our predominant thought patterns. So we must weed these disempowering thoughts out before they gain momentum. One way to do that is to catch ourselves every time we think a limiting thought that doesn't serve us, and to hold it up in our minds. And as we see that thought, we instantly grab an imaginary stop sign and we hold it to that thought. We nip the thought in the bud. We stop it. And immediately you can replace it in this way with a more empowering thought. This could also be a question. In my work, I like to use empowering what-if questions. For example, when you want to tackle a challenging task and you have a thought like, this is just too hard, you're declaring that it's too hard, but does that really serve you? Not really, right? And so you could replace that, because words matter, because words also create our reality, as we said before. They are thoughts expressed in verbal and vocal form. So how could you then turn this disempowering statement or declaration into a more empowering what if question? It could go like this: what if it could be easier? Or what if I could find a way to accomplish this with ease and grace? Or what if I could get some help with this? Or what if I could find the perfect situation? It's a perfect solution for this. Because, there's no problem or challenge without a solution. That's the law of polarity, right? Of course, you may also use different types of questions, such as, how can it get easier than this? Or where could I find support? Or who could I reach out to? Or what's my first step to get this started? There are endless possibilities of empowering questions. Questions are really, really awesome to turn disempowering or limiting statements around. Or you could also replace your limiting statement with a more empowering statement instead of a question. You could say, for example, the law of polarity says that for every challenge, there is an equal solution. I ask that I be shown. I ask that I be shown what the solution is. Powerful, huh? Let's do this together for a moment. So pick a challenge that you're currently dealing with, something you want or need to resolve. Close your eyes and picture your challenge, and then declare. The law of polarity says that for every challenge, there is an equal solution. I ask that I be shown what this solution is. I ask that I be shown what to do next. And take a moment to do this. Okay, how was that? Now, you sometimes need more time for this process. Feel free to repeat this exercise in your own time after this show and to use it every single time you need a solution to a problem or a challenge. Okay, so let's move on in the process of creating what we want, living our greatest desires and implementing our worthy goals, living our most burning desires. It all starts with knowing and acknowledging what we really want. First, we must identify what exactly it is we want. This is the basis for it all. So take some time figuring it out. Maybe start by making a list of all your wants, then narrow your list down to what you want the most in this list, what matters the most to you, what makes the biggest difference to you if you achieve it, if you can implement it. And once we know what we want, we must acknowledge it, meaning not dismiss it because it might be, for example, too hard, too fantastic, too far out, too whatever. We must firmly declare it. So declare it for yourself. After we did that, we turn this want into a burning desire. How do we do that? We imagine what it feels like to have it, as if it had already happened. We live it in our imagination and we experience what it feels like. We daydream about it. We fantasize. We envision having it. And this builds up a desire that becomes stronger and stronger and stronger, and it gains life. It becomes worth the effort and to do whatever it takes. The more burning your desire, the easier it gets to take action toward it. The feeling we add to our visualizations, and we've done some of those in previous episodes, that really is what helps us create it. Yes, to embody it. And it's important to remind ourselves that once we've visualized it, we have already created it. Everything is created twice in our minds and through our actions. We have now created it already in our minds, and that's where it all starts. Everything starts in our minds before it takes on physical form. So now that we have identified what it is that you want, we need to acknowledge it and that we can actually have it. Yes, that we're able to achieve it, that we deserve to have it, that we are worthy of having it, and that it's possible. Somehow. The how is not that important yet in this stage. So think of one of your most desirable results or goals you want to achieve, whether it's an income goal, a specific role or position, or whether it's finding you a soulmate partner, whatever it is. Just choose something that matters to you deeply, that you really, really want. Then close your eyes and then unless you're driving, of course, or operating heavy machinery or knives or whatever, that could be risky when you close your eyes. And turn your attention inward. Again, only if that's not a risk at this time. And now ask yourself, and be honest here, do I truly believe that I can have this? What does this thought feel like? Do you feel any doubt, any anxiety? And if so, could it be that you don't feel capable enough because you doubt yourself? Or why is it? Or is it because you don't feel worthy of having it for some reason? A lot of this is subconscious. Now, most of it actually is due to subconscious programming, so it's really not your fault. Could you maybe make a decision to let go of any limitations that keep you from having what you want? Could you let it go? Would you let it go? And when? Could you do it now? So let's declare that all the limitations that you're ready to release right now be released. Will you join me in that? All the limitations I'm ready to release right now are now released. It is done, it is done, it is done, and so it is. Now, once you have a better grasp of what's going on here, just decide that you're absolutely worthy of having it. Now, whatever your reasons are of not having it, decide that you're absolutely worthy. Rationalize it. There's really no reason why you shouldn't be worthy. And you also know that you have unlimited potential, infinite potential. You're truly limitless. You have infinite power inside of you, immense creativity, and you have resilience, don't you? I'm sure you do. Okay, then, can you declare now and declare it firmly that you're worthy of having what you want? Do it. Okay, let's move on. Once we have defined exactly what it should look like and that we are worthy of it, we write it all down. If we haven't already. Yeah, if you have done that already, you can skip this step. Or maybe you want to draw it. But in any case, we also write it down because for several important reasons, what we write down becomes easier to achieve. And in this way, our desire or dream now becomes a vision. If you don't know how to write an effective vision, go back to my recordings and find the episode where I talk about vision writing. Then we look at what we wrote down, our vision or what we want, our dream, and we make this future dream a present fact. Meaning, once again, we feel into it. We experience it as if it had already materialized for us. We assume our desire is already fulfilled. Our wish is fulfilled. We take on the feeling of the result. We feel the joy, the relief, the satisfaction, the fulfillment, the happiness, the well-being, the whatever it is. And not to forget, we also feel the gratitude for it. I call this forward gratitude. We express our gratitude through our feeling as if the vision had already been implemented, as if it has happened and we were enjoying the results of it already. That's how you make your future dream a present fact. So do this consistently and create the results you want. You can have what you want because you say so. Yeah, you just got to believe it. See, in the past, I did a lot of this without even knowing how. I did it not really consciously. I moved to different places and countries and continents, seemingly just following opportunities or following my heart. But these opportunities opened up for me because at some point I had decided that I wanted to see the world. This was the decision. My curiosity opened my appetite for taking risks, for following my heart and doing all I did. So I just did it. And at 26, I moved to Spain just because there was an opportunity together with BCG, where I was working at the time. And I was in Munich when this opportunity opened up, and I didn't speak Spanish, but I learned it. And quickly, you know, my first interview was in English. That was in March. And my second interview was in Spanish, and that was in July of the same year. So I moved at the beginning of September, all really quick. You know, and that, although I grew up as the shyest kid in the village, a small village of 9 houses, you know, but I was curious. And so I broke through my shyness. And look, I didn't do that only once. I did it over and over and over because I often felt excluded in the beginning, for example, when I couldn't keep up with the fast speaking Spaniards, when they were all talking at the same time at a lunch meeting over each other. It's, you know, the Spaniards like to talk and they like to talk loud, and it's beautiful to watch it. But when you don't have a proper grasp of the language yet, and it's just too fast, you know. So my Spanish was pretty good, actually, even after a month in Spain. My colleagues often ask me right at the beginning how to spell words, but I wasn't a fast speaker yet. And it was often really hard to understand others and what they're saying in noisy environments. But I didn't let myself be discouraged. And over time, my Spanish became fluent and the challenges disappeared. Less than a year later, I was promoted into a leadership position, although I didn't have any proven relevant experience or studies. I just accepted because I felt it was my responsibility to grab this opportunity, this chance of a lifetime. Was it always easy? No, but I quickly grew into it. See, we don't know what we can do before we actually do it. Later, I learned Portuguese and I helped BCG open offices in Portugal and Brazil. And after 7 years in Spain, I moved to Brazil and to Argentina and eventually to the US. I also spent extended periods of time in several African countries and more recently now. But I didn't know about conscious creation back then. Yes. And so I was bound to encounter many more bumps in the road than actually was necessary. You know, I have no regrets. And yet I do know that if I'd been a more conscious creator of my reality, if I had just understood the divine matrix and how everything is an expression and a reflection of ourselves, I could have avoided so much pain, disappointment, and even betrayal along the way. I could have declared that I deserved and was worthy of what I wanted, and that I could grow in ways without going through some of those big losses along the way. I could still grow in a more pleasant way. I would have understood that it's my birthright to live a happy, fulfilled life. And I would have had better tools to create this life. But enough of that, because now I do have this knowledge and these tools. And that's also why I became a transformational coach, a transformational leadership coach, to support my clients who want to lead self and others more effectively and with more satisfying results, and who want to also pass their transformation on to their teams, and who want to live and be in charge of their careers and experience less pain and stress along the way. So today I'm here to encourage you to believe that you can have what you want, simply because you say so. Now I want to inspire you to own your birthrights, to show up for yourself, to claim what you want, and to equip yourself with the beliefs, the tools, the guidance, the knowledge, and if you feel a need, the coaching you need to do so. So if you'd like to find out more about how to get there, email me at regina@transformyourperformance.com, and I'd be more than happy to connect. Other ways to connect with me are through my websites, transformyourperformance.com and transformwithregina.com, where you can also find an absolutely free Career Accelerator mini course, where I talk about how to stand out and increase your positive visibility, how to set healthy boundaries to reduce your stress, and how to open up new possibilities for yourself so you can move ahead beyond your current perceived spectrum of possibilities. So go to transformwithregina.com, put in your name and email, and enjoy the videos. Also, of course, always go check out my YouTube channel for new videos. It's Regina Huber. In conclusion of today's episode, remember, the assumption of the feeling of the wish fulfilled makes the future dream a present fact. Those are the words of Neville Goddard in his book, The Power of Awareness. 2 amazing books that I can only recommend. And I look forward to seeing you again next Wednesday, same time, same place. In the meantime, keep your light dimmer switch in its highest position and don't let anyone bring it down. Keep shining, sparkle away like the precious pearl you are, because the world is your oyster.